Hi, welcome back to Spider's Web. Today's podcast is about an icon. One night, about a year ago, I was having dinner with my singer and friend Arlene Bardell, and somehow we started talking about our childhood and about, the things we loved, and this icon's name came up. It's Barbie. Yes, that Barbie. And what an icon she still is to this day. Well, we both recalled a period that maybe was in the late 70s or early 80s where some people thought that she was a bad role model. But we both agreed she was a very positive influence on us as young girls. Well, she came on the scene in 1959.
Just my style. I fall in love each time we meet. Barbie, you're lovable.
Well, before the wonderful Barbie revolution appeared in 1959, little girls had to play with baby dolls. And that was sort of all there was. There were things to play with that all had to do with being a mother. And this didn't work for everyone. Imagine that. My sister had one of the early Barbie dolls, but I was too little. They said that I wouldn't know how to handle anything like that. So I remember one time they got me this baby doll that I thought was just so ugly, and I was so mad it wasn't a Barbie doll, and they asked me what I was going to call it, and I said, I think I'll call her Sloppy. Well, that went over well. So I just admired my sister's Barbie doll, and then finally I was old enough to get my own Barbie doll a few years later. It was so exciting, and I inherited a lot of the original clothes from my sister's Barbie doll, and the clothes had titles. They all had names because she was a fashion model, and all the costumes, had accessories that went with them. But the one that struck dearest to my heart was called Solo in the Spotlight, and it is one of the iconic Barbie outfits. It's the strapless sequin gown with the fishtail bottom, and she has pearls and a pink chiffon scarf. She's rather like Julie London in the 50s. And I remember the first time I saw that singer with the black gloves. She actually was so amazing. But something that came along a couple of years after Barbie was released to the public, she was a singer at that point, and she recorded a record in 1961, and I was smitten.
I have one special favorite dream, as most folks do. I turn out the light, and most every night, my favorite dream comes true. I dream of my very first day, and I feel so light I could dance all night, never touching the floor. I dream that I'm staying out late, and the boys all sigh as
So
I
Barbie on the
dance.
Bandstand did share a lot about what it was like to be a teenage nightclub singer which seems a little odd. But I guess if you're a teenage fashion model, you can do anything. So she had to share her issues in her development with us as well.
Growing up means learning so many different things, like reading, writing, arithmetic, presidents and kings. Each lesson is important, believe it or not. They taught me almost everything, but one thing they forgot. I learned how to read a book, learned how to write a letter, but nobody taught me how to fall in love. I learned how to sew and cook, and I learned how to knit a sweater, but nobody taught me how to fall in love.
So Barbie had a backstory. It was amazing how she came about. There was a brilliant couple who were in business together named Ruth and Elliot Handler, and they were true partners, actually she kind of being the alpha dog of the pair, and they actually created Mattel toys. Well, they had two children, and they were in Germany, and they were looking around at different toys, and they found this doll, and the doll was called Build Lily. And it looked very much what the Barbie doll looks like from the early days. It was a sexy adult doll. And Ruth thought that the doll was beautiful. And she said, "Where did this come from?" And they said, "Well, she's a doll that was created from a cartoon." There was a magazine in Germany that was called Bild magazine. And it was sort of like a sassy gossip magazine, and they had this cartoon strip that was called Build Lily, and Lily was this sexy call girl that basically was screwing all different men all the time and saying naughty things, and little did Ruth know that that was the background, but when she found out, she didn't really seem to care. And the reason the original doll had been made is that men that read this sexy cartoon, they would buy these dolls and bring them over to someone's home, I guess to get their message clear of what their intentions were. Here's a call girl doll for you. Wonder what that means. Imagine that. Well, anyway, Ruth saw the potential in making this into a fashion doll for girls. So they modeled the prototype almost exactly the same as Build Lily. The one issue was that she had prominent nipples. So they decided they need to make the nipples disappear. She was sexy enough without it. And the toy was a hard sell. Oh, they gave Ruth a very hard time, and they were all men that were in the toy industry that didn't understand it and were against it and didn't think it was proper for children to be playing with, until they finally test marketed it with little girls. And the girls were crazy about her. They loved how beautiful she was and changing the clothes and, being inspired by this. And her name became Barbie. That was named after Ruth and Elliot's daughter. So in 1959, Barbie was released and she flew off the shelves. They almost could not keep up with the demand. Well, she was so popular that by 1961, they decided she needed a boyfriend, and his name would be Ken, after Ruth and Elliot's son.
I never bothered with romance or gave any boy a second glance, and then I met Ken. I had no use for mushy words. I thought holding hands was for the birds, and then I met Ken. Now I make believe he's walking me home from school and the girls all stare. He isn't really there, but what do I care? I'm I'm walking on air, 'cause I can't forget the day that I met him at the baseball game. He made a home run.
Barbie was a great role model in so many ways. She taught you how to dress and how to put accessories together and how much your grooming would impress people. I know it sounds very vapid in this day and age, but it is important. But mostly that you didn't need to have babies, and you didn't need to have a husband either, and you could have a career. You could do anything because Barbie did everything. Her career was unbelievable. Well, she started out as a fashion model, and then shortly after, a singer, then a movie star. Later on, she became an art teacher, a dance teacher, an aerobics instructor, a football coach, a yoga teacher. Her medical degrees were, she was an eye doctor, a dentist, a pediatrician, a nurse, a surgeon, a veterinarian. She was in the military. She was an Army medic. She was a U.S. Army officer. She was in the Marine Corps. She also became an astronaut. That was pretty amazing. Wow. She was president in 2000, apparently. I missed that part. She was a UNICEF ambassador, a firefighter, a lifeguard, a police officer. She was a SeaWorld trainer and a NASCAR driver. There was nothing Barbie couldn't do. She was just so amazing to me as a kid. I mean, how cool was she? She had a dream house. She rode around in a convertible. And Ken, I don't know, he never seemed to be bothered by any of that. He was happy just showing up when she told him and being an escort. He always seemed fine, and I don't think he ever asked her to marry him, which I'm sure she was relieved at. God knows she was busy. And you know, he sang as well in 1961. He recorded as well, and in this song I'm going to play, I think it might have been the only time that Ken may have been a bit frustrated with her.
There's a number I call every morning. There's a voice that I'm wanting to hear. But the number I call never answers at all. All I get is a buzz, busy buzz in my ear. I always get the busy buzz when I telephone your house from mine.
Yeah, Ken was pretty mellow. He always was pretty happy taking a back seat. I don't know. I always suspected he was gay, but I don't think he ever really came out. I guess that's just how he is. But Barbie still influences me to this day. I aspire to dress as well as she does. I'm single. I'm in my dream house. I have no car, but then again, I don't care for driving. But I still feel like I can do anything by myself. Thank you, Barbie, my pal.